Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the biggest nose, Jay-Z Courtside, coming at y'all today on November 13th at 9 a.m. Eastern, live on almost all the platforms that you can watch on: Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Kick, everywhere. So if you guys want to watch, be sure to tune in at 9 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. I do appreciate all of you guys very much for clicking. Today's podcast is going to be pretty entertaining. Now, mind you, this is a daily show, so sometimes the content dries up, especially when you have a night of NBA basketball that is sort of lackluster. Last night was not lackluster, but we don't have that crazy of segments to dive in. We're going to start with breaking down some of my personal favorite games from last night. You already know the Pistons won again. And then we are going to be discussing the stinkers that were put up last night, as well as ending this podcast off with a quick look forward. Let's look at what's going on around the league that a lot of people aren't really talking about as far as standings go, and where I believe teams are going to be ending up by the time we reach the quarter of the season. And we're almost at the quarter. I think like by the end of next week, or maybe even 2 weeks from now, we'll be past that quarter mark of the NBA season, which is crazy because it feels like it just started yesterday. Before we get into all the meat of this podcast, be sure to do me a huge favor. Be sure to, if you're a YouTube watcher, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It helps more than you could possibly understand. And podcast listeners, 5-star ratings and reviews. Now, we got all that poop out of the way. Let's just go on and get right into it with, honestly, I got to say, a lot of teams last night showed off their City Edition jerseys, and they were fire. I don't know what your guys' opinions are. I think my favorite jersey that I saw last night was the Los Angeles Clippers like orange jersey. I thought that was fire. I love orange. It's my favorite color to see, like the Clippers that, you know, it's red and blue and white. See them in orange. I thought that looked great. Unfortunately, their basketball play wasn't good. And I think the Pistons statement jersey, city statement jersey, was absolutely fire as well. Repping the old alternate horse logo and the teal maroon. I thought it was fire. But we are starting in Los Angeles, where the Denver Nuggets routed the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers have now lost 6 games in a row. This one, they lost by 14, but I assure you it was not that close throughout the game. Jokic went off for 55 points last night. Not just that. He had 55 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. He shot 18 for 23 from the field. That's right. 18 for 23 from the field. Jokic is a man amongst children at this point. He scored more points than the entire starting lineup for the Los Angeles Clippers, and that's not even a joke. He scored 5 more points than the Clippers' entire starting lineup. Nikola Jokic cannot be stopped at this point. This is all without Cam Johnson playing good at all. He's playing awful. He's playing very bad. He had 2 points, 1 for 3 from the field in only 8 minutes. Did he get hurt? Did I miss that, or was he just? Did he get hurt, or did he just get pulled? I missed the first quarter where Jokic had 25 points in it. 25 points. I had the game on, but I was taking notes of the other games. What I'll say again is, watching this game, the Clippers went on a crazy run in the second quarter. And of course, it's when Nikola Jokic sits down. He sat down, and then the Clippers went crazy. They were going berserk. I think they were at one point on a 21-2 run. Jokic comes back in, and then they claw their way back. Clippers still won the second quarter, but at that point, it didn't matter. Third quarter, they allowed the Nuggets to score 43 points on their home court. I mean, this is disgusting. This is just absolutely atrocious. Somebody in the TikTok stream is asking me why I don't talk about football, because this is a basketball podcast, in case you couldn't tell. This game right here is proving you that Nikola Jokic is truly the best player in the world right now when it comes to basketball. There is nobody better than Nikola Jokic. And I didn't even need this game to tell me that. What I will say is the Denver Nuggets move on to 9-2. They are second in the West, and they are playing like the first. If the Thunder didn't exist, then you bet. I mean, I picked the Nuggets to be my number one, or to be my championship winning team this year. Not that I'm a, Nuggets fan per se, but I picked them to win. They only lost in 7 games to the Thunder, and that was because they were missing Michael Porter Jr. They were missing Aaron Gordon, and injuries and all of that were happening. Jamal Murray has been playing really good for a regular season. We all know Jamal Murray only performs well in the playoffs, but he's been playing pretty well in the regular season, and I think that's what's helped them a lot. Obviously, Jokic is the best player on the floor at all times, but at this point, the Denver Nuggets have won 6 games in a row. Denver Nuggets have won 6 games in a row, not against the best competition, actually, at all. They beat the Kings. They beat the Heat, the Warriors, the Pacers, the Kings, and the Clippers. So at least they're getting it done. And when you look at their stats as well, like their seasonal stats, I mean, they're second in points scored, 5th in rebounding, 4th in assists. They're not a good defensive team, 20th in steals and 25th in blocks, but they're second in field goals made and first in field goal percentage. So, like, this team is showing you that they can do it on a nightly basis. I'll talk about the Clippers stinking it up later in this episode, but for now, I want to stay a little bit longer on the Nuggets. I said it as soon as they picked up Tim Hardaway Jr., but I knew this guy would be prime Klay Thompson for this team. I just knew it. Everything was telling me with how Jokic makes role players look, I just knew Tim Hardaway Jr. would be thriving, not just doing okay, thriving on this team. Because Jokic makes players like Bruce Brown look competent. Players like KCP look competent. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been averaging like 13 points off the bench for this team. Like, he's playing basically almost starter minutes because of how good he's been. If he's open, he's going to shoot it. Even if he's not open, he's going to shoot it. And I said one of the most underrated free agent sign, or I guess it was a trade for Dario Saric, but Jonas Valanciunas, I know Denver fans are praising the heavens over the fact that Jonas Valanciunas was considering to go play for Greece. But he's stuck with the Nuggets. And now here he is being a crucial component to allow Jokic to not have to play 40 minutes every single night. He played 34 minutes. Can you just let that sink in real quick? Jokic played 34 minutes and scored 55 points and grabbed 12 rebounds. In his 34 minutes, he scored more points than the entire Clippers starting lineup. That's not just good. That's generational. And I got Jokic right now at this current pace to be the MVP of this league. He can get his 4th MVP, and yeah. I'll talk about the Clippers stinking it up later. But what I will say is in the second quarter, the Clippers were showing their depth a little bit, their young player depth. I really liked what I saw from Kobe Saunders. Kobe Saunders he had a great second quarter. He had 9 points in the second quarter. And I thought that the Clippers were back and they were going to lock in, and maybe this is just what they needed while Kawhi's out. And that, unfortunately, did not last long. I've said this a lot, but Ty Lue is not an NBA coach. I mean, he just can't be. He's been a head coach for a long time as well. I think seeing like him win a championship with LeBron really inflated his value as a head coach in the NBA, because I don't see it. I truly don't see how he's a head coach. It doesn't look like he's got the locker room. It doesn't look like he knows really what he's doing. We'll talk about the Clippers and everything they're doing wrong later. But the Nuggets, I mean, come on, man. Jokic is averaging 29 points per game, 13 rebounds, and 11 assists. He's averaging another 30-point triple-double, just like he was last year. This is unbelievable what we're seeing. Truly, truly unbelievable. And like the Clippers had no answer for him either. They had no answer for him. Jokic was just catching the ball and doing this little ass baby hook each and every time when he was in the paint. So like effortless, he was playing effortlessly. His 34 minutes very well could have been like 25 minutes because he wasn't having to try at all. So to see Jokic doing what he's doing and what he's doing on a nightly basis is just it's a thing of beauty. His touch around the rim is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And, you know, this game, like I said, it wasn't that close, but they won by 14. At the end of the day, it didn't matter. And I'll talk about Ty Lue and the Clippers a little bit later when I talk about the group of teams that put up stinkers last night. But yeah, I think Ty Lue's, I think his resume, I agree with Dark in the Twitch chat. Make sure you guys tune in to these live 9 a.m. Monday through Friday so that you can get your input spoken on these episodes. He said his success 100% comes from being blessed with LeBron and Kyrie, and I fully agree. And I don't know how he's been a head coach for as long as he has, because he has not shown me anything. He's arguably one of the most overrated coaches in the NBA right now. Plain and simple. There's so many better coaches than him that don't have jobs, like a Mike Malone, that I think deserve it way over Ty Lue. Now, for the next game, the rest were blowouts. The rest of the games were blowouts. So we're going to be talking about the stinkers and like things that happened last night. But for now, I want to talk about the Detroit Pistons moving on to win 8 games in a row. They have won 8 games in a row. They took out the Bulls in Detroit, and the Pistons played without Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, Tobias Harris, Jalen Duren, Marcus Sasser, and Isaiah Stewart. The Pistons were without 7 of their best players on the team. They were without the 7 best players on this team. They were missing their entire starting lineup, their 6th man, and their 7th man. Again, they were missing 7 players. The Pistons at one point were up by 23 points. 23 points. And they did it. They choked the lead. At the end of the third quarter and the start of the fourth quarter, they choked the entire lead. The game went, the Bulls were within 2 points. They were within 2 points. And then all of a sudden, B-Ball Paul comes in and just carries the rest of the game. Let me just read you the stats of some of these players. B-Ball Paul Reed. And I said it before the season started. Paul Reed is the best third center in the NBA. This guy could start for half of the teams right now in the NBA. Paul Reed, he could start for half the NBA teams right now. And I mean that. He could start for Philly, but they let us have him. He could start for Boston. He can start for so many NBA teams right now. And yet he's okay with being our third string center. We signed him to a 2-year contract after last year. It's truly unbelievable to see Paul Reed in 31 minutes drop 28 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, and a block. He was the team high, plus 26 when he was on the court. He shot 11 for 13 from the field and 2 for 2 from three-point land. Paul Reed missed 2 clutch free throws against the Wizards 2 games ago. We ended up winning. But he tweeted saying, I'm about to shoot 10,000 threes or 10,000 free throws to make sure that doesn't happen again. What'd he do? He shot 4 for 4 from the free throw line. The Pistons lead the league right now in most and ones. That's right. They are drawing the most and completing the most shots to make these and ones. They're leading the league right now. They're leading the league in a lot of categories. And yet people still think that they're not for real. Again, Paul Reed, 28 points. This is the best game of his career. 28 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, and a block, plus 26 when he was on the court. I want to give another special shout out to the homie Dennis Jenkins. He played the most minutes out of anybody on the court. Dennis Jenkins, two-way player, doesn't even have a guaranteed contract in the NBA right now. In 2 games, he's got 40-something points. He had 18 points, 12 assists, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals last night. He had a double-double. A double-double. He doesn't even have a contract in the NBA. Ron Hollins was not playing aggressive. I feel like he just has one gear, and that's just go, 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 go. I think Ron's got to take his time more. He had 9 points, didn't play that well. Massive shout out to Javonte Green. He did not shoot well from the field, but he had 9 points, and his defense was impeccable as always. And another special shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, Duncan Robinson. Thank you, Miami Heat, for giving us Big Dunk, because I can already see it. Malik Beasley returns to the Detroit Pistons, And all of a sudden, we've turned Tim Hardaway Jr. and Simone Fontecchio into Duncan Robinson and Malik Beasley, two of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. As soon as Malik Beasley returns, that means we went from having Tim Hardaway Jr. and Simone Fontecchio to Duncan Robinson and Malik Beasley. Duncan is shooting over 40% right now for the Pistons from three. Last night, he shot 70% from three-point land. That's not a typo. Duncan Robinson shot 70% from three-point land yesterday. He fouled out. That's 2 games in a row. He should not be fouling out. He even talked about it in the post-game press interview. He said, that's not happening again. I'm not fouling out again. I got to play better defense. I got to stop fouling. He's playing good defense. He's just getting called for ridiculous fouls. He had 23 points, 2 rebounds, an assist, and a steal, and he was plus 20 when he was on the field. Duncan Robinson, you are a godsend. Dennis Jenkins needs a guaranteed contract in the NBA. We found our backup PG. And this is like huge for Pistons fans and the Pistons franchise organization, because the Pistons have not been able to develop talent from the G League. Since I've been a fan my whole life, we have not been able to develop talent from the G League. Dennis Jenkins is going to be our Jose Alvarado. Straight up from the G League, 2-way contract, play 4 years in college. He's a month older than Cade Cunningham. He's a month older than Cade Cunningham, and now he's finally got his shot. Here's the thing. A lot of people don't know who Dennis Jenkins is. He's been tearing it up for the Motor City Cruise G League team. Tearing it up. He was on a 2-way last year, and he's on a 2-way again this year. He played really well in the preseason. I liked what I saw. So when the season started and I was like, okay, Marcus Sasser's out, who's our backup point guard. Who's going to be our backup PG? And we've just been alternating between Cade and Asar. Asar would come out of the game early so that he can replace Cade, and we haven't had an actual true backup point guard. Guess what? We found one. We found one. And this kid's a demon. He's an absolute demon. He plays like a veteran. He plays like a veteran. And I don't want to forget the homie Karis LeVert came off the bench and dropped 17 points. 17 points. I want to respond to this live chat in the Twitch stream right now. He said, Newsom said, if Dennis Jenkins is playing this good, it makes it easier to trade Ivy. I disagree strongly. Dennis Jenkins gives us the ability to rely on a backup point guard. Now, these minutes could disappear entirely depending on whether Ivy looks like Ivy of last year or not. If Ivy comes back, shoots the way that he was, play makes the way that he was, defends the way that he was, that's our team. That's our core. It's Cade, Ivy, Asar, Duran, and Stu. That's our core. That is our team. But Dennis Jenkins could be a great backup point guard in replacement of Marcus Sasser. I'm not the biggest fan of Marcus Sasser. He's shifty, but he's not a playmaker. This guy, Dennis Jenkins, in his first ever NBA start, had 18 points and 12 assists. Marcus Sasser was never doing that for the Detroit Pistons. I love Sass, but he's not. And he's still out for another month at minimum. Karis LeVert played excellently off the bench, 17 points and 5 assists, 2 blocks. His defense was great with a steal. He was 8 for 11 from the field. I don't know why he settles for threes when he's that good at taking it to the lane. And I will say, the homies, Bobby Klintman, I'm not a believer anymore. Bobby Klintman is not ready to play in the NBA. But shout out again to Chaz Lanier, our rookie, 6 points, Tolu Smith, and Wendell Moore, who we just signed a couple days ago. And he got minutes. He got 10 minutes in this game. So, mind you, there were 5 G Leaguers who played in this game for the Pistons. I'm not talking just touch the floor. I'm talking more than 15 minutes a game. And they beat the Chicago Bulls. Now, this is pretty telling. I called it. I said the 76ers and the Bulls had a great start, but it's not sustainable. Now that teams are actually hitting threes against the Bulls, they've come down to earth. Billy Donovan will bring the most out of a team, but the most out of this team, mind you, the Bulls were missing Giddey. Didn't really matter. I mean, if you need Giddey to beat this kind of team when they're down 7 players, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? Paul Reed absolutely locked up Nikola Vucevic, and the Pistons won again. That's 8 straight wins. The Detroit Pistons have the Philadelphia 76ers on Friday night. That's tomorrow night for the in-season tournament game. And I have an odd feeling that the Pistons are going to continue sitting out the majority of the players that sat out last night. I think they saw what they did and they want the guys to rest a little bit more. I just have a strong feeling. I have a strong feeling that the Pistons are going to be sitting out those guys again. And hopefully we hear back from all of these injuries. The Pistons are very bad at disclosing these injuries to their fans. Hopefully we can hear something about everyone. It's good to hear that Cade and Duran aren't bad. But Asar Thompson came in wearing a boot. And yeah, I'm curious. They've only really disclosed Tobias Harris's injury, and like it's an ankle sprain. So we'll see what happens. We have like 5 ankle sprains on the team right now. We'll see. It was a great team win for the Detroit Pistons. Honestly, that game right there was the most impressive game for the Detroit Pistons this year. They move on to 10-2. This is the first time the Pistons have been 10-2 since 2005. Which means I've been rooting for this team every single year. And I've never seen this kind of start from the Detroit Pistons before. And it just makes my heart ooze of happiness and excitement. It's unbelievable. I'm looking right now at the players out. And it's our whole team. It's our whole team. I'm looking at all the players that missed. But I think they're going to rest them one more game because the Pistons have done what they needed to do. They came out in the season, proved everybody wrong again. That everyone's sleeping on Detroit, and they got a nice lead. They got a nice spot in the Eastern Conference, and I think they can afford to rest the players again. It's against the 76ers. They'll probably win, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I thought the Pistons had no chance yesterday, and yet they beat the Chicago Bulls. So anything could happen. Anything could happen. Now, next, I want to talk about there's just too many games last night to talk about each and every single one. So what I did here is I grouped up the teams that I think put up some absolute stinkers. The Heat, Knicks, Lakers, and Clippers all put up stinkers. So I'm going to talk about all of those teams in order, starting with the Heat. Okay? Now, I watched this game, the majority of this game. And what I'll say is the Cavaliers sat out their team. Just like the Detroit Pistons did, except 3 of their guys. Darius Garland out. Donovan Mitchell out. Evan Mobley out. Which means the starting lineup was Lonzo Ball, Sam Merrill, Jared Allen, Dean Wade, and DeAndre Hunter. Which means their bench is Craig Porter Jr., Tyrese Proctor, Larry Nance Jr., Naquan Tomlin, Thomas Bryant, and Luke Travers. And the Cleveland Cavaliers defeated the Miami Heat. Not just defeated, I think utterly embarrassed the Miami Heat. Here's what I saw. I'll start with a loser because it's always easier to talk about the winner. So I'll start with a loser, the Miami Heat. The fourth quarter came, and honestly, it was all Cleveland. It was all Cleveland. They went on, I believe, a 23-4 run in the fourth quarter? Something like that. I think they ended the game like scoring 30-5 or 30-6 or something. And from what I saw, it was obvious as to why that happened. The Cavs were leading on rebounds. They were leading on assists. They were leading in steals. They were leading in blocks. And they had way less turnovers. Way less turnovers. The Miami Heat led at one point by 14. Too many second chance points for the Cavs. They scored 58 points in the paint, which is like a Miami Heat thing to do. And Jaime Jaquez could not hit a single shot. Live chat agrees with me. Jaime Jaquez was definitely the underperformer from this game. He had 11 points, 4 for 15, minus 16 on the court. Nikola Jokic, I'm not a believer in him. I've told you this 100 times. I said, like last week, that I was not high on Nikola Jokic. And then he went on and had his career high. Well, back down to earth. 2 points, 1 for 6. Simone Fontecchio, still, he sucks at defense. He's horrible at defense. But 13 points, 4 for 7. At least he scored. Drew Smith, 6 points, minus 4 on the bench, 3 for 8. I want to talk about the starting lineup, though. Norman Powell did his thing. He did his thing, as he's been doing. 27 points, 10 for 18 shooting. Okay? Davion Mitchell, 16 points, 4 assists, 7 for 13 shooting. Did his thing. They were not passing the ball in the fourth quarter at all. It was ugly. It was ugly basketball. Andrew Wiggins doing what he always does, 17 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 7 for 13 from the field. And Khalil Ware honestly had a good game. 15 and 13, 6 for 7 from the field. The issue with the Cleveland Cavaliers, the issue with the Miami Heat is they don't have a guy anymore. They don't have a guy right now. They do not have a guy right now. They're missing Bam. They're missing Tyler Hero, and they looked lost. They honestly looked like the Pistons from last night. But the Pistons were missing 7 players. The Heat are missing 2. And they looked lost. The Pistons, when they allowed the Bulls to go on that run, it was like, where are our guys to weather the storm? Where are they? The Pistons didn't have them. There were 2-way contracts and G Leaguers in the game. The Miami Heat has them. But they couldn't do it. They could not weather the storm from the Cleveland Cavaliers. It was like every possession that I was watching, I think even my fiance took a peek and was like, what is going on there? Because Jaime Atkins Jr., what he does best is just beelining to the hoop. Just beeline, straight freaking sprinting to the rim. And he was doing it, and it wasn't working. It wasn't working. If that's your one move, I'm sorry, that's not going to cut it in the NBA. It's okay that you're strong. It's okay that you're fast for your size, but you need a bag. You need some sort of bag. Add a spin in. Add a pump fake or two. You can't just straight beeline to the rim and just hope for the best that you get fouled every single time. He was 0 for 4 from deep. Can't shoot. He missed a couple wide open ones there in the fourth quarter. He can't shoot. So the Miami Heat, absolutely horrible game. And I think expect more of this in the future, unfortunately, for the Miami Heat. On the other side, I said Tyrese Proctor is a demon. You guys, if you guys watched yesterday's episode, I said Tyrese Proctor's a monster, and I love that guy. Great rookie for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They nailed it with that one. He didn't shoot well. He was 4 for 15, but he was aggressive. He was a plus 19. You can't make that up. He was a plus 19. The starters for the Cavs sucked. They were horrible. The starters were not good. Jared Allen did his thing, 30 and 10. DeAndre Hunter, 21 and 6. But yeah, Dean Wade was bad. Sam Merrill was bad. He was 1 for 10. I didn't realize he shot that badly. And Lonzo Ball did his thing, 15 points, 8 assists. I was just thinking the other day that I might be over for Lonzo Ball, but they had the help of Craig Porter Jr. off the bench, who played incredible. Tyrese Proctor and the homie Naquan Tomlin. This team is nice. Let's move on. We've talked about the Heat putting up the stinker enough. Let's move on to the Orlando Magic with a convincing win. Convincing win in New York. Now, I want to start off by saying I thought Tom Thibodeau was still the head coach for the Knicks for a second there. I was fooled because I saw Jalen Brunson get hurt with 1:30 left in the game. And they were down by like 15 or 16. And then I thought to myself, oh my God, Tibbs did it again. But then I was like, wait, Mike Brown's the head coach. Why was Brunson in the game? Jalen Brunson left the arena with a boot and crutches. Okay. Now, I want to say this before I talk briefly about the Magic looking good, and I called it. Watching the New York Knicks makes my heart hurt. And not because, like, we lost to them, the Pistons lost to them in the first round last year. Not because of that. But the amount of times I have seen Jalen Brunson fling his head up and down the court every time somebody touches him with a pinky. Yeah, you are too good of a player to be flinging that head and flopping up and down the court. Brunson, you are like 6'1" or 6'2". You are an animal. You are a beast. Nobody can stop you. Stop with this foul baiting BS. What are we doing? I will take this to the grave. You cannot talk me off this cliff. Jalen Brunson is a worse foul baiter than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I said what I said. I saw it for 6 games in the playoffs last year. I saw it in his next series, and I saw it in a series after that. I've been seeing it all season long already. Jalen Brunson continuing to just flop that head of his and just bait foul calls. It's horrible. And I saw Orlando Magic fans complaining about it last night. I've seen Heat fans complaining about it on Twitter as well. So it seems like everybody around the league right now, all the fan bases are starting to notice what this guy does on a daily basis. You are too good of a player to be doing this. Anyways, sorry about that rant. Paolo Banchero strained his left groin. I believe it was in the second quarter. What I'll say about the Orlando Magic is it has been very interesting to see the turnaround. And I don't know how, listen, the Orlando Magic's defense was impeccable last night. It actually looked like the Magic of last year. We don't know the severity of Paolo Banchero's injury, but he is getting an MRI today on his groin. So we'll see what happens. But what I'll say about the Orlando Magic, we're talking about the stinkers, but I want to talk a little bit about their success because they won 2 in a row. It was that buzzer beater by Desmond Bane that I said that could get the team on the same page. Watching this game has made me realize one thing. The Orlando Magic's defense is still good. They just need to lock in a little bit and actually put that effort onto the court. Now, as far as the Magic go offensively, I don't know if we'll ever see another game quite like this offensively for the Orlando Magic. They had 50 points in the paint, and in the first half, they were getting everything. Everything they wanted in the first half was in the paint. The Knicks had no interior defense whatsoever. They were not playing any defense. Mitchell Robinson looks like a giraffe on ice skates on the court. Not even kidding. He does not look like he knows what he's doing at all. Now, the Orlando Magic was getting anything they wanted in the paint. Anything they wanted in the paint. It was going crazy. Franz Wagner was just waltzing down there. Franz Wagner was taking Mikal Bridges they had Jalen Brunson on him, into the post. It was a thing of beauty. Now, if I listen, I don't let my biases dictate my like the way I talk about teams on this podcast, and we all know that. Like at this point, the only like passion that you guys see come out of me is for the Pistons, and that's my bias, right? That's a homer. That's the homer fan in me. I despise the Orlando Magic. I actually despise this team. But my lord, as a basketball fan, I love to see them play well. I love to see them play well, just not when they're against Detroit. I hate the Orlando Magic. I hate them, but I love them when they do well against any team that is not named Detroit. And I want to give them a special shout out here because when they were driving to the lane all first half, I was like, this is going to calm down. The Knicks in halftime are going to be told to just lock down the paint. Guess what? They started hitting threes. The Orlando Magic hit 12 threes last night. That's 37% for this team. I think that's their best shooting night of the entire season. Now, that may not be sustainable. Anthony Black was going freaking crazy. If you were not watching this game, Anthony Black had 17 points, 7 for 11 from the field. Tristan Da Silva has been doing this all season long, but he had 8 points, right? Goga Bitadze had his best game of the season. He was a plus 23 on the court. He had 10 points, 3 rebounds, 2 for 2 on the court. And then you had Desmond Bane, 22 points. He's finally finding his footing underneath him. I still attest by this. They need a point guard. This is just not enough. They need a point guard. Jalen Suggs is a great player, but they need a point guard. Tyus Jones, I think, at this point is a rental. I don't see Tyus Jones remaining on this team much longer. And a major shout out to Franz Wagner. I've said it once. I've said it twice. I've said it 3 times. I've said it 4 times. Right now, Paolo Banchero is not a better basketball player than Franz Wagner. There's a reason why the Orlando Magic lose, and it's not Franz's fault. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. I know Tyus Jones sucks. I've been talking about him a lot this year. He has not been playing well whatsoever. But right now, Franz Wagner is a better player than Paolo. I'm not saying career, in 10 years, looking back, Paolo, I'm not saying that. But right now, this year and last year, Franz Wagner is the best player on the Orlando Magic. And until they realize that as a head coach and as far as a franchise goes, that this is your guy, they're going to continue to look like a mediocre team. They need to look at Franz Wagner to be that number one guy. Because when he's the number one, the offense is in motion. The offense is moving. They look like the Miami Heat. The reason I give the Miami Heat reference there is because of how much movement they have on the court. You don't need just pick and roll, pull up midi, miss. Franz Wagner can hold it. He can do more than hold his own for the Orlando Magic. He can do more than just hold his own. He's like, I think Twitch chat just reminded me completely. Reminds me of the Tatum Brown conversations people used to have, except I mean it this way. I remember last year we were saying that J-Dub and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander cannot win together, and that sometimes you need to sacrifice your number 2 for the better of the team. And in my opinion, Franz Wagner is not the number 2 for this team. Whenever he's the number 1, he plays way better. I'm not saying they don't need Paolo, but I think they need to run the offense more through Franz Wagner. Their biggest issue is that Paolo Banchero cannot play off ball. He needs the ball in his hands. He cannot play off ball. He can't shoot. He's not a rim runner off ball. And that's the biggest issue with the Miami Heat. So I think at some point, I'm not saying trade Paolo, but you do need to utilize these players differently. I don't want to talk too much about the Orlando Magic. We're trying to talk about the stinkers right now. So that's what I'll say on that topic. Okay. Great team win for the Orlando Magic. Now, on to the next game. The next two games, I really don't have much to say about them. The Oklahoma City Thunder just absolutely rout the Los Angeles Lakers. This was not even close in any which way. The Thunder led in every single category other than second chance points and fast break points. The Lakers put up a big stinker. Rui Hachimura minus 35 on the court. DeAndre Ayton minus 18 on the court. Austin Reeves minus 24 on the court. Marcus Smart minus 21. And Luka Doncic minus 31 on the court. Horrible game offensively. Absolutely. They could not score. They could not score at all. And to see this team play as well as they are, and then just put up a stinker like that, that was surprising. I'm not going to lie to you. Jake LaRavia, 1 for 6, worst game of the year. Dalton Connect with his best game of the year, 6 for 7. He had 16 points. Yeah, their starters were horrible. Their starters were not good whatsoever. There's not a whole lot I can talk about the Lakers and what they did wrong. They did everything wrong. But I can speak on the Oklahoma City Thunder. You know, I said this at the beginning of the season. I said if you can cut this team in half, and they're still better than the average NBA team. I was joking when I first said that. I think I'm super serious now. I genuinely think I'm serious. You can cut this team in half, and all of a sudden, they're still better than the majority of NBA teams. Isaiah Hartenstein, 11 points, 8 rebounds. Chet Holmgren, 11 points, 3 rebounds. Didn't need much. Cason Wallace, 6 points, 2 for 6. Not a good game. AJ Mitchell, my guy, the dog, 14 points, 6 for 13. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, another 30 points, 10 for 18. Shai's just too good, man. When you look at what this team is doing, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander so far, in case you guys are not keeping track, because I am keeping track, there are 7 games this season that he has not had to step on the court in the fourth quarter, that he has scored 30-plus points. Do you understand that statistic and how improbable that sounds? He has not played in 7 fourth quarters this season. 7 fourth quarters this season. And in all of those games, he still had 30-plus. This is what's going to happen. So, like, people were talking about last year and how all of their games were blowouts, right? And he was still scoring 30 points and finishing games. And he was rested for the playoffs, right? And at the start of this year, it wasn't like that. Every single game the Thunder played, it was close. And then they realized, wait, we are better than everybody else. And then they just hit the gas early on and just dust any team that they're up against. It's incredible. They did this all without Kenrich Williams, Lou Dort, Aaron Wiggins, and J-Dub, who still has not played NBA basketball just yet this season. We have not seen the Oklahoma City Thunder at their best yet. We haven't seen them at their best. It's just a sight to see, because I'll be talking about how good the Pistons are. I'll be seeing tweets about how good the Pistons are on Twitter, and then top responses, can't beat OKC. Still can't beat OKC. And then I look at their profile picture, and it's Anthony Edwards. Sir, you can't beat OKC. Why are you worrying about us in the East? You worry about yourself. You're in the West. Still can't beat OKC. I know a guy with a what's his name? Torrey Easton profile picture is not talking to me, right? Anyways, just enjoy what you guys are seeing right now with the Oklahoma City Thunder, because they are arguably one of the greatest teams in basketball in my life that I've seen. They're on pace right now to still win. I think they're fully capable of winning 70 games this year. Why are they not? Why are they not? They're doing this all without their second best player. It's unbelievable. And then up last, the Los Angeles Clippers. I already talked about them a little bit, but I'll dive a little bit deeper. I mean, their starting lineup, bro, minus 13, minus 22, minus 10, minus 24, minus 8. Their whole starting lineup. Like I said, Nikola Jokic scored 55 points. That's 5 more points than the entire starting lineup for the Los Angeles Clippers. Nikola Jokic outscored the entire starting lineup for the Los Angeles Clippers. I mean, if this doesn't tell you what you need to know, I don't know. You had a good, decent bench contribution from Kobe Sanders and Jordan Miller in the first half, and then they disappeared in the second half. They were not playing well. This team is old. This team doesn't know what they're doing without Kawhi Leonard. Chris Paul, another DNP. I don't know why Chris Paul's not playing. Is it just over? Is he retiring? I said he should just pick it up and retire in the middle of the season because it's not happening. I think he should just retire, end it. And then Bradley Beal. It was reported late yesterday that he is out for the season with a hip injury. You traded Norman Powell to the Miami Heat to make room for this guy. And now he's out for the year with a hip injury. Bradley Beal, you are the king of finessing. You are getting paid from the Phoenix Suns for the next 5 years, and you never need to play a single game with them ever again. You are also getting paid by the Los Angeles Clippers, and now you're not playing a single game for the rest of this year. You are the king of finesse, and I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. Now, we talked about all the stinkers. Let's talk about the standings and what we're looking at now, going into almost the quarter of the way through the season, okay? We'll start in the Western Conference, right? I sort of want to look at, so I named this segment What Up, Though. There's a lot of podcasts that have like What You Got or like, take your pick. We'll name ours What Up, Though, because that's the saying in Detroit when you see somebody. You say, what up, though? Guys, podcast listeners, be sure to drop a 5-star rating and review. If you're on TikTok watching live, or if you're on YouTube watching live or post live, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It helps more than you can possibly understand. Just take a quick second, drop a like. I appreciate all the live crew watching right now on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. I appreciate it. All right. So we'll start with the Western Conference. The Oklahoma City Thunder are 12-1. I think that's going to remain. I think they're going to stick at the number 1 seed. But right now, I don't want to talk about the obvious ones. I want to talk about teams that we can see moving around, right? So the Denver Nuggets, I think they are steady at number 2. The San Antonio Spurs, the West is just so convoluted right now. It's so unbelievably convoluted. When you're looking at this conference, it's all literally from the 10th seed to the 3rd seed, it's separated by 4 games. If you want to look at just the playoff picture, it's separated by the 6th seed is separated by 1 game from the 3rd seed, 2 games from the 2nd seed. So any win, any loss can alter your entire standing right now. That's just how it is. It's early in the season. But I think this is how it's going to stay for the West. I mean, the Spurs are the 3rd seed and they're 8-3. Like, this is just, it's a sight to see. It's truly a sight to see. Let's see. So I think at this point, the top 6 teams in the West is very tricky. You have the Thunder, they're not going anywhere. You have the Nuggets, they're not going anywhere. So like, I'm afraid anything else after that is up for grabs. I think you only have 2 teams. That's a guaranteed playoff spot in the West. And that's the Thunder and that's the Nuggets. I can't guarantee the Spurs are in there. I can't guarantee the Rockets are in there. I would say I have the Rockets above the Spurs. I would also say I have the Lakers above the Spurs. To be honest, I'd also say I have the Timberwolves over the Spurs. So I think at that point, you have to make a decision. Is it going to be Warriors or is it going to be the Spurs for the 6th seed? That's where it's going to be tricky. The Warriors want to stay out of the play-in. They do not want to be in the play-in. So when you're looking at this, you want to decide, like, what can we do here? The Spurs just got De'Aaron Fox back, and they're looking great. They did lose to Steph Curry and the Warriors. I forgot I didn't even talk about that game from last night. Wow, that's my mistake, ladies and gentlemen. But, yeah, Steph Curry dominated. I think he had 44 points. Played incredibly well. Yeah, they played well. I think Wemby had a triple-double, if I'm not incorrect. I believe Wemby had a triple-double. That's right. So they lost 125-120. And Victor Wembanyama had 31 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists. Devin Vassell did not play well. De'Aaron Fox did not play well. They need him to score, not facilitate. Stephon Castle was the best player of the team, 23 points, 10 assists. And Luke Cornett played incredibly well as well. But yeah, Steph Curry had 46 points. Moses Moody had 19. Jimmy Butler had 28. They were getting to the free throw line. They were playing aggressive. They looked good. And that was on the second leg of a back-to-back as well. So shout out the Golden State Warriors. They managed to win that. So at that point, you're looking at the 6th seed, and it's between the Spurs and the Warriors. I see, Yeah, I see some Jazz talk. What I'll say about the Jazz, they've been incredibly entertaining. I think at this point, you're sort of looking around and you're like, damn, are the Clippers going to make the play-in? I have no idea. I think the Trailblazers, if they continue at this pace, could definitely make the play-in. Donny Avdia stepped up. He's leveled up. The Suns, I didn't even talk about them. They have won 6 out of the last 7 freaking games. Do you guys know how insane that is? 6 out of their last 7 games? Did I just say 6-7? The Suns have stepped it up. The Suns have truly stepped it up. And this is without Jalen Green. The vibes over there are immaculate. And it looks like they're going to win tonight again on a back-to-back against the Indiana Pacers. I'm very happy for the Suns. Their over-under line was, I think, 32 or 33 wins. They are playing so freaking well. The Phoenix Suns are playing so freaking well, and I'm so happy for them. 6 out of their last 7 games they've won. It's been a sight to see. If you guys have not watched the Phoenix Suns, I highly, highly, highly recommend y'all to give them a watch, because what they're doing right now is it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I don't know if it's going to be sustainable. They're kind of running Devin Booker into the ground, but we shall see. So yeah, I think the West, I think it's going to be Thunder, Nuggets, in no order, but I'll say the Lakers, Rockets, God, and that's so tough. Lakers, Rockets, Timberwolves, and Warriors. And then I'll probably have in the play-in the Spurs, maybe the Suns, the Trailblazers, and the Clippers. I think that's how it's going to go. I think that's how it's going to go. As far as the Western Conference goes, there's a couple teams in particular that I do want to talk about here. So the Orlando Magic, I think they are going to climb back up into the play-in or playoffs. I could see them getting into the playoffs. What you're going to see here is I think the 76ers are going to fall into the play-in. So what? There's 4 play-in spots, right? It's the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, right? When you're looking at the play-in right now, you see teams that are used to being in the play-in. The Raptors, the Bulls, the Magic, right? I think, I hate to say it, it's probably going to be the Miami Heat, the 76ers, or the Atlanta Hawks that are going to fall into the play-in. I would like my take on the Miami Heat making the playoffs. I think out of those 3 teams, they definitely have the best odds at making the playoffs, which means I'd say I think the Bucks are going to knock out the Hawks, and then I think the Raptors are going to knock out the 76ers. So I think the play-in is going to be as follows. The 76ers, the Hawks. God, this is tough. Wait, this is tough. This is tough. This is tough. Obviously, I don't see the Pistons finishing at the number 1 seed. I don't see that happening. They're my team. I love them. They're 10-2. I'm enjoying this right now, and I'm going to continue enjoying it. I'm so happy. I feel like I'm on the beach right now of how happy I am. So let's just go over this real quick. Let's see how many guaranteed spots we have. We have the Pistons. This is just no order. Guaranteed playoff spots. Pistons, Cavs, Knicks. And what else? Pistons, Cavs, Knicks. Everyone had the Hawks and Magic over the Pistons. Going into the season, they had the Magic and Hawks over the Pistons. I think we can all agree that's crazy talk. So Pistons, Cavs, Knicks. I think we only have 3 guaranteed teams that we know they'll make the playoffs. Okay? And then you got to make a decision. I think I'm going to go the Heat. So we'll go with 4 teams right now. Guaranteed we have 2 more spots. I think the Bucks, I just can't see Giannis falling into the play-in. So I'll go the Bucks, and now we have 1 more spot left. I think I'll go the Magic. I think I'll go with the Orlando Magic for the final 6, in no order, but in the final 6 top spots, which means in the play-in, we are going to have the Philadelphia 76ers, the Atlanta Hawks, the Toronto Raptors, and the Chicago Bulls. So those are going to be the 4 play-in teams, and those are going to be the 6 playoff teams. I don't see any way possible the Heat would have to have a catastrophic rest of the season to fall into the play. There's just no way I can see them falling into the play-in. And if Giannis can't carry the Bucks, then maybe they can fall into the play-in and, the Raptors will sneak in there. But yeah, I definitely have the 76ers and Bulls falling into the play-in. The Bulls are already where they're supposed to be at. The Bulls right now is they've lost 5 out of their last 6, I believe. Yeah, they've lost 5 out of the last 6 games. I think that's overall going to be my predictions for as far as the East goes. I think the East is a bit easier to decide. The issue is let me just paint you this picture real quick. You got the Hornets who are 4-7, right? You got the Hornets who are 4-7, And they are 5.5 games behind, right? At 4-7, 5.5 games behind. To be in the play-in, they're only a game and a half out. So, like, as far as the East goes, I think it's still pretty wide open for any of these teams to just hit a hot stride and just come back, other than the Wizards, Pacers, and Nets. But yeah, I really do believe, I think there's only 3 guaranteed playoff teams. And that's if, like, this is all health, all health. You know what I'm saying? This is all health. So, like, I think these teams healthy. I think it's in no order. In any order, there's no order. But I think the 4 teams I could absolutely guarantee you to make the playoffs are the Pistons, Cavs, Knicks, and Heat. I cannot see the Heat falling into the play-in at this point in the season. Like I said, they would have to have a catastrophic failure or injury, right? Same with the Pistons. And then, yeah, the 76ers and Bulls belong in the play-in. The Hawks, I think they'll fall into the play-in as the season proceeds. And I think the final 2 spots into the playoffs would probably be the Bucks and the Magic. That's my guess. There's still like 70 games left into the season. So this is my way too early predictions. But so far, this is where I think it's going to be shaping up, right? We'll do this again when we are officially a quarter way into the season. I just, we do daily podcasts here. So I just wanted to make sure we had some sort of content, right? I know we were sort of starving. I guess I should have dove in a little bit deeper into the Warriors Spurs game. But we got 70 more games. I'm not really tripping over it, as long as you're not tripping. As far as everyone else goes, I want to give major shout outs to all of the live crew. Thank you, everybody in the TikTok, Twitch, Kick, and YouTube for hanging out with your boy. We do this Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern live. Now, we will not be live tomorrow. I got to take my fiance to the airport. So next week, we will be live again, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. If you guys want to take part, I will still be doing the podcast tomorrow, just not live. All right. So don't you worry. Podcast will still be live tomorrow, just not live. I hope everybody's okay with that. If you are on the YouTube, be sure to drop a like, subscribe. It helps more than you can possibly understand. If you're on the TikTok, be sure to drop a follow. If you are podcast listeners, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, be sure to drop a like and drop a follow. Leave 5-star reviews, 5-star ratings, and 5-star reviews. I appreciate everybody for watching and listening. I got nothing left to say, y'all, except for thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And as always, guys, thank you for watching/listening, and I'll see you in tomorrow's podcast, just not live. Appreciate y'all, man.